Here's the simple truth about underrated guns in Warframe. Most of them feel bad the first time you try them. The stats look weak, the recoil is weird, you blow yourself up, or the gun needs forma and you don't want to grind, so you toss it and go back to the usual meta picks. But if you give these weapons a real build and a little time, many of them turn into monsters. Today, we'll talk about 12 of those sleepers. For each one, I'll say why players didn't care at first, then what changed when people maxed the build and learned how to use it. Let's start with the Compressa. A lot of players tried it and thought, sticky bubbles, slow pops, low crit, pass. It can also stagger you if you get too close. That first test feels clumsy, so most people shelved it. But the bubbles hit twice, on contact and on the pop, and they spread status like crazy. When you build for status and multi-shot, those tiny pops chain through a whole pack. Viral plus heat is the easy route. Viral boosts all your damage over time, and heat softens armor while locking enemies in place. Add galvanized diffusion, lethal torrent, and galvanized shot. Now the toy gun becomes steel path killer. You don't even need perfect aim. Tag a cluster, step back, and let the bubbles do the work. Just a quick tip though, it's always great to have a grouping setup for Compressa to work well, which is why other players don't like it, since it's just situational and extra work. But if you really want to have fun with something else, then this bubble gun is really a great weapon for that fun and chaotic gameplay. Moving on, Ruvox gets skipped because fist weapons don't scream endgame and its playstyle isn't obvious in the arsenal screen. Out of the box, it can feel like any other melee. What players learned later is the rhythm matters. Ruvox wants motion: jump, slam, slide, spike. Its slam gameplay is actually great, and back when slam meta can do 2 billion damage, the Ruvox shares a portion of that damage, and it can hit millions of damages easily. Don't get me wrong, the slam gameplay can still do millions of damage, but not as intense as doing hundreds of millions back then. Still, I love this Incarnon weapon when built for slam, especially when those Zaramon Angel Spikes comes out from the ground after slamming the ground with the weapon. The gameplay is also simple. Keep your combo up, keep moving, and the weapon pays you back with control and damage. Now let's talk about Akukor. To be honest, I wouldn't say that this gun is underrated right now, but back then, players were turned off with its ramp-up. At first, it's a skinny beam with a tiny mag. You need kills to spawn extra tendrils, and if you lose momentum, it shrinks again. That feast or famine feel made many players quit early. But when its sentient surge augment came out, it becomes a status and crit sprinkler, able to kill a room full of enemies instantly. Multi-shot and fire rate stack hits fast. Galvanized shot rewards all those procs. Viral and heat take small ticks and turn them into real damage. In defense or survival, anywhere the flow of enemies never stops, Akukor shines. You tag one, the tendrils jump to others, and the whole wave starts melting on a timer. It's not flashy, but it is steady, and steady clears missions. By the way, while we're rolling, if you like finding sleeper weapons like these, please hit like and subscribe. It helps a lot, and it tells me to make more simple build guides and off-meta picks for you. Alright, back to it. Next, let's talk about Synapse. This is that old dojo beam most people forgot. Short range, no big explosions, and it focuses one target. Easy to ignore. The trick is building it for what it does best: crits and armor-friendly damage. Run it like a real crit rifle: serration, galvanized chamber, galvanized aptitude, point strike, vital sense. Then pick viral heat or corrosive heat based on the faction. Aim for the head and keep the beam steady. Beams tick many times per second, so your status and crits stack fast. Heavy units just melt. If you bring Volt, drop an electric shield and the gun hits even harder. It's a laser scalpel. Treat it that way, and it will surprise you. Also, I would like to include Bubonico on this list. This primary scared people off because it feels odd at first. It uses a battery, so you can't spam forever. The main fire is a pellet hose. The alt fire tosses slow spore bombs that can stagger you if you're careless. On paper, that sounds bad. In missions, it plays like 2 guns in one. The main fire chews through packs up close with innate toxin. The alt fire lobs viral bombs that prime and finish crowds, even though doorways and around corners. Build for status. Galvanized Savvy is great here, and add viral heat so both fires feed each other. Pace your shots so the battery refills while you move. Once you learn that rhythm, Bobonico becomes one of the comfiest steel path primaries. It clears halls, holds lanes, and never worries about ammo drops. Finally, if you have optimized the build of Bobunico for endgame, then you will understand that this weapon actually hits hard. Next, let's talk about Prisma Angstrom. This has a reputation for self-damage which turned into knockbacks right now. It has a small mag, charged to fire that can dump everything at once, and a blast radius that punishes bad spacing. Many people gave up, but it changed when the Incarnon version of this gun came out. Right now, you can use the normal shots to only build up Incarnon, and the evolved form will turn this weapon into a red crit shredder. Because of the Incarnon charges, the gun becomes more ammo efficient, and with the additional perk, the weapon becomes viable even fighting against steel path bosses. Follow this build, or tweak it to your own liking, and Prisma Angstrom turns into a pocket minigun that deletes elites and softens entire rooms. It's great as a swap to answer when something scary walks in. Also, Acarius Prime gets judged for being a homing rocket sidearm. People remember long reloads, self-stagger, and very low ammunition economy. But with the right build and the right habit, it's buttery smooth in my opinion. Fire a burst, sprint while it reloads, then fire again. Keep that loop and the reload stops feeling slow. Stack multi-shot and fire rate. Use viral heat and add primed fulmination if you have it to boost the blast radius. Now add ammunition mods on the Exilus mod slot, or better yet, use the Carrier Prime and you will literally have a blast using this weapon against steel path enemies. Next, we got Nell Prime that was neglected by some because the passive needs headshots. Miss a few and the gun feels weak and empty. Land a headshot though and the weapon wakes up. You get a window of huge crit power and basically free ammo. Keep landing headshots and you refresh that window again and again. Build for crit and raw damage first. The best part about this weapon is that we have Sight 09 right now that can let you have fun shooting the weapon without worrying about dying. You can always be invisible with the Warframe's evade skill, and the headshot damage becomes nuts with his weak spot boost. Not to mention that we also have mods right now that rewards accuracy, so it really feels great to use weapon like the Nell Prime that requires precision in Warframe right now. Okay, the next one is somewhat controversial on this list, and some may say, you listed Kuva Sobek. It's a great weapon. Well, for those who know how to use it, or what Warframe to pair it with, this is so satisfying to use with Sarin and its Acid Shell augment. The key mod makes enemies explode based on their health when they die. That one change turns the gun into a chain reaction shotgun. One kill becomes 3, and 3 becomes the whole pack. Build for status and multi-shot, bring Galvanized Savvy and Primed Ravage, and consider a reload mod or arcane so you keep the chain going. The reason players changed their minds wasn't a secret stat. It was seeing those health-based explosions wipe rooms in Steel Path. Once you see it, you get it. The Kuva Ogress had the opposite problem. Launchers ate nerfs for a long time, so many people just parked them in the inventory. With its augment, each rocket leaves a fire patch on the ground. Stack radius with primed Firestorm, or fulmination if you're using it as a secondary on other launchers, run viral/heat, or pure heat, and you now paint the floor with lingering damage and soft crowd control. Shoot a doorway, move on, and let the ground do the work. It's perfect for locking down choke points in spawn rooms. It's also nice in squads because your damage keeps ticking even while you reload or reposition. The gun stops being one big boom and becomes area control with constant burn. This weapon is best used with heat-based warframes like Flare and Ember because they have heat buffs that makes the Kuva Ogress damage goes insane. Pair this with a Heat Inherit setup and it will burn enemies into crisp. How do you do that? Well, you can always go with the combination of Epitaph and Kuva Ogress, modded for high heat to turn any room into hell. Moving on, let's talk more Incarnon weapons. Burst in Prime used to be polite and boring, a simple 3-round burst that felt like MR fodder. The day it got its evolved form, that story changed. In its transformed mode, Burstin turns into a fast, punchy hose with high multi-shot and real teeth. Build stacks, swap forms, and it shreds. Use galvanized chamber, primary deadhead, and viral heat for the usual all-purpose route. If you're fighting heavy armor, swap to corrosive/heat. The feel is the real upgrade. It doesn't play like the weapon you leveled years ago. It plays like a modern primary that belongs in Steel Path. Another great Incarnon gun that you must try is the Pin Your Enemies to the Wall Prime. Boltor Prime went through the same glow-up as any other Incarnon weapons. People remember puncture bias and bolt travel time, so they think it can't keep up. With its evolved form, it absolutely can. Build like a modern primary, mix crit and status, stack galvanized chamber and galvanized aptitude, and run viral heat so slash and dots do the heavy lifting. You still pin enemies to walls, which is fun, but now you also chew through crowds at speed once your stacks are up. Give yourself a mission or two to adjust your aim for travel time. After that, it just feels right. Burstin and Boltor show a bigger point that runs through this whole list. Many of these guns were built around a quirk. Some need ramp up, some want headshots, some want space, some want movement. If you slap on a basic build and do one mission, the quirk feels like a flaw. If you build for the quirk, the weapon wakes up. That's why opinions flip after people forma and try again. By the way, if you are worried about formas and rivens, then you really need to relax. You don't need perfect rivens to make these work. Forma helps fit the full build, sure, but the big power jump comes from modern mod sets and the right element pair. Galvanized mods, a good arcane, and viral heat do most of the heavy lifting. If you have a faction mod for your main target, Grineer, Corpus, Infested, or Corrupted, slot it. That one card often beats a random 60-60 in real missions. Also, comfort is part of DPS. A faster reload or bigger mag can raise your true damage because you shoot more and swap less. Don't be afraid to trade a tiny bit of paper DPS for a smoother loop. Smooth loops win long runs. Here's my challenge for you. Pick one of these you wrote off years ago, give it 2 or 3 formas and a proper build, slot the right arcane, add viral and heat if you're not sure what to run. Take it into a few Steel Path missions, not just one. Let your hands learn the spacing and the pacing. Watch how it feels by mission 4. That's when most people change their minds. The bad gun stops feeling bad. It clicks, and once it clicks, you can't unsee it. If you want me to turn any of these into a full card with exact mod slots, forma paths, and arcane picks by faction, tell me which ones in the comments. I read them all, and I'll prioritize the most requested. And if this video helped you find a new favorite, drop the name. I'm curious which sleeper wins for you. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you in the next one.